I have Johnny Swinger here with me. If I have this correct, and I know everything on the internet is usually true, that's what I've heard. Uh, you're coming up on 30 years in the wrestling business. Do you know when your exact anniversary is, like your first match?
That's hard to say because the way you just said it's a pretty, in the wrestling business. If you count me setting up the ring when I was 12, it's a lot longer than that. Which is obviously, as you know, not something that all the fans get a chance to do. So I was kind of already involved at a really young age, but I started in the ring 93, 94, started training in 93. So yeah, I mean, if you want to count a battle royal, we're at the 30-year mark for being in the ring.
Okay, well, congratulations on that. 30 years, obviously.
30 more, hopefully, right?
Why not? Action Mike Jackson's doing it.
Hey, he's my idol and one of my best friends. So yeah, I just follow his lead.
He looks great. Still can move around, so
Right.
setting the bar for you.
I've never been able to move around like he does now. So I don't know what his he's just an Iron Man, as I call him. He's one of those Iron Men from Venice Beach or something, just walking around and you go, what in the heck is that guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a freak.
So some of the stuff I was doing some research. I know your career from WCW. That's kind of why I mentioned it. But before that, you started up in Canada. You actually worked with Scott D'Amore like right at the beginning of your career for Border City Wrestling. Like,
That's right. Yeah, within the first year of wrestling. Yeah, I was wrestling out in Winnipeg, Canada for a guy named Tony Condello, and Don Callis was the booker. And I was doing these tours out there with Edge and Christian and Jericho and Lance Storm, all the great guys from Calgary. And Scott had seen me on their TV show. They had a TV show out of Winnipeg that went nationwide in Canada, and that's how he saw me and thought I had a good enough look for TV. And he got in contact with me because he was involved with booking TV guys for the WWF and WCW at the time. And then he had his own promotion as well. And he brought me in right away, and we became fast friends and great business partners all the way up to this day.
one of the other names, Rhino, everybody's familiar with Impact Wrestling now, but he's one of the names that came up. You mentioned Edge. I think he was still Sexton Hardcastle when you worked with him
Right.
at CW. So
Yeah.
there's like a who's who of people you've worked with, and now sort of seeing it come full circle. Like you're still working with Rhino and Impact. Scott's
Right.
obviously has a major role in Impact. I mean, is Scott one of those guys you still go to, like to sort of reflect or go for, any kind of advice, just somebody that you really gel with? Like,
Honestly, these days he's so busy with running the entire company. I don't know how he does it, but since I've been back for this last run, coming up on almost 4 years, I don't think we've spoken any less. I mean, this is like, if something's going on, he'll let me know. And it's really quick, and because he's just got so many people to deal with. And if I make a mistake out there, he'll let me know about it, friends or not. So he's always been good business. He's efficient. Like when I met him way back then, this guy's been producing TV since he was a teenager. So I mean, he was just cut out for that, producing and organizing. It takes a special person to do that. But we got it. We can call each other anytime, and we talk at the TVs, but like I said, very little, just because he's got so much to deal with. And we've always worked great together. And being friends helps out. And he has the best intentions for me, so I never have to wonder, oh geez, why is he doing this, or why does he want me to do? I never have to worry about that. That's why I think this is probably my best stint in the sport, with him, because I don't have to worry about all the politics and stuff that could go on in the major companies. I know he knows how to use Johnny Swinger. He's got the best intentions. So it's makes it the most fun that I've ever had.
all right, so you're not talking because he's busy. It's not because he shut Swinger's Palace down.
Well, a lot of people wonder why. So do I. But like I said, man, I'm not in charge of all that stuff. I don't know what the logistics are and moving stuff around. So, but since Swingers Palace shut down, I got the dungeon daddy. So I always got something going on. So there's no complaints on this end.
what are your goals? Like, I know this is kind of a broad question, but 30 years in the ring, obviously you mentioned that you've been around it a lot more than that, but what are your next goals at this stage in your career? Like, we see you on TV almost every week. You're still in great shape, working in the ring, entertaining people. What is next for you at this point?
I think this opportunity that I got to change into the swing man back in 2019, I wish we would have came up with it 20 years ago, because I think it's got the longest legs for me as far as there's an expiration date on everybody. But I think I'm really grateful for this spot that I have, because it can be plugged into anything, and that's what it's been all this time. So I think we got a lot more to do with it, and I also like to get involved on the production side, which I've done a little bit over the last few years, and it's exciting for me to be on that side of it also. So I'd like to be on both sides until it comes to a point where somebody doesn't want me in the ring anymore. And like I said, if it happened today, 30 years, I mean, not a lot of people can say that, and I would have forecasted 20 for myself. So I'm already 10 over. So it's just, it's all bonus. I'm having the most fun with it that I've ever had. And if I ever had a thing against me, what I think was that I took it too seriously years ago, and I let it get me down and stuff like that. And I was like, you know what? Just, what did you get in this for originally? To have fun. And I want to have fun. And now that's my whole character, is to go out there and have fun and have people have fun watching me. So it's just a perfect fit.
You're playing with house money now.
What's that?
You're playing with house money now.
Right.
Right. Something caught my interest just now. You said you were doing a little production work. Is that excuse me. Is that can you talk a little bit more about that? Like, is that like helping people with like promos and stuff, or is that like agenting matches? Anything?
Actually, I've been helping out with Billy Corgan's NWA as a producer. So that was my first opportunity almost a year ago to actually do it for a major company. And so I'm kind of getting some experience with it on that end, and then at Impact I've been sitting in on some production meetings, and I'm seeing that it's very similar. It's something that I already know that I would enjoy doing that, and I think if that's the next 30 years, I want to be Tony Garea, man. You know what I mean? 30 years on the ring and 30 years behind the scenes, and it doesn't get any better than that. I was cut out for this profession, and I do little other things here and there, but I'll always come back to this business. Like I said, it's in my blood, literally, and I still enjoy it. It's not, oh man, I got to go to TV. And me and Barry Horowitz are talking about it. Man, TV will always be the same. You get there at 12, you're there all day long. It's like, but that's what TV production is. And would you rather be sitting at a desk, pushing pencils for 12 hours? No, I'd still rather be doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And that's, whether it's helping, like you said, produce. Guys ask me for advice all the time if I saw them. And you know what? Believe it or not, some guys half my age will actually come up to me and have advice for me. And it's viable. And I use it. And I never know. I know it all, because I don't, believe me. We'll keep trying to know it all, but you never stop learning. And the great thing about my character, gimmick, however you want to call it, is almost everybody in the locker room has an idea for it. And that's great for me. It's great for the product. And we all work together to make the best show that we can.
I'm glad you brought up Barry Horowitz, because that's another name I didn't I know him from the not fluke win, but the big WWF moment. Like, that's kind of how a lot of people know him. I forgot he was in WCW.
We wrestled on TV.
Yeah, like that's another name that came up. Like, you guys had a match. I think it was
we had a few. We had a few
one of the studios. Okay, so
yeah, we had a few TV matches. Yep.
You guys wrestled at Universal, I think, or it was one of the studio shows.
We were shooting the Saturday night tapings, which were in arenas. The studio tapings were more of the syndicated, like WCW Pro and Worldwide, as it was called. But WCW Saturday Night was the TBS 605, like the Dream used to say, the mothership. That was the big show until Nitro became a hit. But it was still a pretty big show to be on there. We still had a couple million people watching it. every week, which today would be impressive, right? I mean,
Mhm.
and that's where me and Barry had some TV matches on there, and we were friends at the time, so that helped with, guys are gonna work together when they're friends. They want each other to do really well. And in addition to me being a fan of his when I was a kid, he was a guy I watched when I was on when he was on TV. I was a kid when he was on TV, and like you said, I'm watching this guy every week. To me, him, Iron Mike Sharp, Brooklyn Brawl, all those guys, they were stars to me. If you're on TV every week, you're a star, and what a pleasure to get into wrestling and meet him and become friends, and then to wrestle him on TV and then wrestle him 24 years later. I mean, wow, what a story.
Yeah, a lot of those names, like I was like, all right, they're on TV, they're a star. Like I think this is a good example, but do you remember Freddie Joe Floyd? Like
Oh yeah,
he wasn't Tracy Smothers to me. He was
right,
Freddie Joe Floyd, and I was like, oh, he's
right. I knew
then
he was Tracy Smothers because I was a student of the sport, right? I knew he was in this, what do you call it, with WCW, with the Southern Boys, and I was already familiar with the Armstrongs, and you know what I mean. I knew all the old Continental. You had to know everything.
yeah.
You know what I mean. I was glad to, and what a super guy Tracy was. I knew him right up until he died. I didn't even know he was sick until a few months before he died. I saw him and didn't even recognize him, but he was a great guy, and always fun to be around, and very matter of fact, and you could learn something just by sitting there talking to him, and just loved being around him.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of goes back to your point about you're never done learning. Like when I found
Right,
that out, that's just one thing where I was like, oh, I only know this version, like this world of wrestling. There's all
right.
other things going on outside. So, I was still and am still getting an education on the wrestling business. So,
I was a producer for one of Ricky Morton's matches for NWA,
mm,
and I'm watching his match, and I'm watching how he's doing stuff, and I'm seeing how I can use it, and I'm his producer. So you're never, you know what I mean? We always tell the guys, watch as much of it as you can, especially the guys that came before us, because it's a different style. It's, as they say, evolved. I'm not a big fan of that word. I think wrestling will always be the same. Guys just do more unbelievable athletic moves and stuff, but the basic fundamentals will always be the same. And man, you can watch guys like Ricky and Robert. I tagged up with Bullet Bob Armstrong when he was 80. Okay. And he still drew a crowd in Alabama, and we made a bunch of money together. And I'm like, this business it'll always be the same. We just add more to it. That's all. But it's fundamentally it'll always be the same.
before we get out of here, I mentioned I do want to talk about some of the events Impact has coming up. Sacrifice coming up March 24th, 25th in Windsor. Los Angeles is going to have Multiverse United, and then Rebellion April 16th. Are you going to have any time to go on spring break, or as I'm pitching the idea, swing break?
Swing break. Man, that's a shirt right there, right? Man, I'm going to take all of that if you don't mind. Wherever oh, I lost you there. Can you still hear me? Okay,
Yeah,
I went.
I said it's yours. Swing
Yeah,
break.
I'm not sure if I'm at Sacrifice right now. I haven't got my travel yet. That's kind of, we don't know too much beforehand. I hope I am. I know I'm in Windsor for the TV taping, but I'm taping since I've been back, so I'm hoping to at least be on those TV tapings, and not sure what I'm doing WrestleMania weekend yet. I've had a couple offers for appearance wise, so I got to sort all that stuff out. And you said spring break. There's no break. It's just what will we be doing during that? Yeah.
All right, so Canada, you don't really think of, but I mean, maybe if you show up in LA, you can hit the beach. Where's Johnny Swinger going for spring break with if he has time to actually do it?
Man, if I could get a workout at Gold's Venice Beach, that's always exciting for me. There's always some good characters in there. I'm hoping one day to bump into Arnold in there. I know he goes in there, and that'd be fun. But I've seen some people in there over the years, so it's always, if I get out that way, I usually like to go there.
All right, cool. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe you get your travel, and we'll see you on one of these
Right.
shows I mentioned. I know you said you are doing TV at
Yeah.
I think it's March 25th is the second day.
Right. In Windsor. Yep.
So look for you on that in the coming weeks on Impact Wrestling, and Here's to another 30.
Man, I hope so.